Republican Party chairman in Macomb County, Michigan, saying, yeah, we got a fun little trick we're going to do here. We are going to challenge all the voters whose houses have been foreclosed, and we don't want their votes to count. No. Think about it for a second. Think about how nasty that is. You know, talk about adding insult to injury. They're like, yeah, our policy's screwed up, and you're going to lose your house. And then when you go to vote to change our policies, because they're the policies that wound up screwing you, right? What we're going to do is we're going to rub it in your face and go, oh, I don't even know that you live there anymore. I mean, your house is foreclosed. Technically, I don't know if you can vote. No, we challenge your ass. Man, if you're a person who's not making over $250,000 and you don't get that the Republicans aren't on your side, I mean, I say it all the time because it's true. You're an idiot. You don't get it. You don't understand what's happening. They hose you, and then when you go to vote to change, they block your vote. You know how many Democratic programs there are throughout the country now to block voters, more voters from voting? None. Zero. In all the things that I've ever read, and I comb through all the stories. That doesn't mean I read every single story in the country, but I hit a lot of them, right? And I've never heard a story about a Democratic Party saying, hey, let's try to make sure the Republicans don't vote. Democrats want to encourage more voters. Now, it's in their self-interest. I understand why. It's not because they're necessarily better guys than the Republicans. The more people that vote, the more likely it is for Democrats to win. That's a consistent and true thing that's been true for many decades now in America. That's why the Republicans try to block all these voters. Having said that, that makes you a little anti-democratic, doesn't it? And that's why they purge all these voters. And it's just should be against our American system. But they don't have a qualm with it. They're like, hey, we got to do whatever we got to do. Your house got foreclosed. You're in bad shape. Sad day for you. I'll kick you a little more. Now this, in Michigan, for example, by the way, 60% of the people who suffered through the subprime loan mess were African Americans. So the Republicans know they're even more likely to vote for Democrats. They're certainly a lot more likely to vote for Barack Obama. So make sure you suppress their vote as much as possible. Don't let them vote. Don't let them vote. Now, when they ask law professors, hey, is this a legal move? They're like, no, not really, because you need actual evidence to challenge a voter, to say, hey, he's not qualified to vote, he's not registered to vote. And the fact that his house has been foreclosed is not really evidence at all, because most of the people are still in their house, especially if they're voting in that area, as they either try to find a way to pay the mortgage or they go through the process. They're in their houses for a long, long time. So it's really almost no evidence at all. But here's the trick that the Republicans know how to exploit. When they go to challenge voters, the person at the booth cannot question why they're challenging the voters, for the Democrats or the Republicans, except the Democrats don't ever challenge voters. So the Republicans just get lawyers, they send them into the booth, and they say, all right, I challenge, and the guy at the booth is powerless to stop it. Now, that's clever in two different ways. One, they block more voters that are more likely to vote Democratic, and they put them. That doesn't mean that their votes never count, but they are challenged and then adjudicated later. And most of those votes wind up being irrelevant because it gets called the night of the election, and then, as Bush did to Gore in 2000, they go, oh, the election's already over, and oh, they're being sore losers, and we already won, what's the big deal? And then you find out a couple of months later, oops, it turns out Gore had won the electoral vote. But by then, it's too late. So that's point number one. Point number two as to why they do it, and this is very clever. You have to give them credit for it. They're not worried so much about the votes that are being challenged. They want the lines to be longer. Every time they challenge a voter, it takes a while. It's a process. It goes through, right? And the longer the process takes, the longer the line is. And the longer the line is, the less people that vote, because they get there and they go, well, I got to get to work. I don't have time for this line. And they've suppressed more votes. It's a win for Republicans and a loss for America and a loss for the American system of democracy. By the way, Michael Moore wrote this in his book. What would be a great idea is moving the elections to the weekend where people have more time to vote. You know who's blocking that? Republicans. Why? They don't want more people to vote. They want less people to vote. Man, if you got your house foreclosed and they pull that kind of trick on you and they rub it in your face like this, they don't even let you vote for a better government, I mean, if you're not pissed, you're not paying attention. you look at all this stuff, and the overriding question that comes to mind is, I mean, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? Anyway, there's nothing the Republicans won't stoop to. Nothing.